And N-Dimethyltryptamine, or just DMT for short, can be found in thousands of plants all across the world. Common ones include several species of the acacia trees, most often found in the inner root bark, Mimosa hostilis bark, phalaris grass, chacruna leaves, and N-Dimethyltryptamine peregrina seeds, which is most commonly known as yopo, and of course many, many more. DMT has been found within the human body, as well as potentially all mammalian species. It has been found in trace amounts within both blood and urine, but more interestingly, DMT has been found to bind to the sigma-1 receptor. This receptor plays a key role in protecting cells from dying when oxygen supply is low, making the argument kind of real or potentially real that DMT may be released in large quantities upon death, in a last-ditch attempt to keep these cells alive. This would further propagate the myth that DMT is the missing link between life and the afterlife, or death. More on this in a minute. DMT can also be found in various forms throughout the aquatic world. Recently, an active analog called 5-bromo-DMT has been found throughout several species of sea sponges, coining it the nickname sea sponge DMT. It seems obvious that this is a molecule which shows up almost everywhere in nature. Now, when you consider it one of the most intense psychedelic experiences known to man, it's one of the strongest psychedelics, which can give you effects not limited to feeling like you're being pulled out of your body, blasted into a new dimension, or simply facing your own death. It makes it even more mysterious and almost miraculous that it's found in so many things. Now, no one has ever died simply from smoking DMT, from vaporizing. However, people have met their demise via ingesting it orally. This is because when you drink it, you need a MAOI, a monoamine oxidase inhibitor, to activate the DMT. Otherwise, your body's monoamine oxidase would deactivate it before it reached the brain. And this MAOI has very dangerous interactions with several pharmaceuticals that people often take, such as SSRI medication, ADHD drugs like amphetamines, a whole slew of recreational drugs. I mean, the list goes on. And often if you consume an MAOI, meaning oral DMT, while you're on one of these drugs, well, it can cause fatal serotonin syndrome. However, when it is smoked, this nullifies a lot of the danger, at least the physical danger. Mental danger still exists always, because you don't need an MAOI to make it active when vaporized, making it much more safe. Or injected. A lot of people do inject in the scientific studies, which we're going to touch on more in a minute, and that way also is safe, again, because it bypasses the need for an MAOI. In the rainforest where DMT was first discovered, they actually learned how to mix DMT-containing plants, the chacruna, with the MAOI-containing plants, the bee cappy, and we don't know how they figured this out. There's thousands of plants in the rainforest. How on earth did they discover that these two needed to be combined to actually have an experience? There's all these poisonous plants, like how did they get there? And you know what they'll say if you ask them? The plants told them. Or maybe Mother Ayahuasca. And this truly is remarkable because if you consume DMT on its own orally, something in your body called monoamine oxidase will actually break it down before it hits the brain. You need the plant containing the inhibitor, the MAOI, in order to make DMT orally active. And again, it is mind-boggling how they discovered this without any knowledge of chemistry, pharmacology, like how'd they do it? We don't know. DMT can be easily extracted from certain root barks that I will not mention here, which means you basically need no knowledge of chemistry to do this. They call it kitchen chemistry.
We're going to be turning this raw ingredient into DMT.
And a simple search online will give you a plethora of different methods for obtaining it yourself. And I must advise that I don't suggest anyone does this because in pretty much all countries it is illegal. It's considered manufacturing, but it just goes to show how much this molecule wants us to frickin' take it. They make it easy for anyone to get. The pineal gland is a small endocrine gland which releases the hormone melatonin, which helps all of us sleep. I'm sure you guys have all gone to even Walmart and you can buy these melatonin pills, which again, I don't advise anyone takes those even because it can mess up your sleep cycle. Now, some scientists have proposed that DMT is also released in the pineal gland, and it may play a role in many physiological and psychological processes, such as dreaming and, you guessed it, the near-death experience. They propose that this is the gland which is responsible for that sudden shot of DMT, which some speculate speculate is released when a person dies, again, proposing that that's the link between this life and the next. They believe that the DMT is what's responsible for those, near-death experiences where people say they saw a white light. Furthermore, some people believe that the DMT release acts as a sort of radio transmitter. Basically, they believe that the brain isn't the seat of consciousness, that it's picking up the signal of consciousness, and that when the DMT is released, it changes the tuner on the radio, allowing your consciousness, the brain's ability to pick up consciousness to shift, and instead, I guess, releases that signal or sends it out of this dimension, if I'm making any sense. Some believe that that is what happens upon death, that your consciousness leaves this world and transmits somewhere else, and they think the DMT, the molecule, is kind of like the spaceship, so to speak, that's possible for that blast off. Dr. Rick Strassman was one of the first to conduct true scientific inquiry into the potential or just what the hell DMT is.
So once I learned about DMT, I thought, well, that would be the drug to study. So ours was a descriptive study. There wasn't any psychotherapy involved. I just was interested in characterizing the effects, biological, psychological.
He performed a full-scale human trial where dozens of healthy volunteers were injected with low to high doses of N-Dimethyltryptamine. Strassman's hypothesis for this study was that DMT, which is, again, something found all throughout nature and in humans, may have a role in the regulation of human consciousness and the very nature of reality. He also proposed that DMT could be used as a tool for psychotherapy and spiritual advancement. Strassman's conclusion from this study was that DMT is an intense psychedelic, no shit, which can cause major shifts in human consciousness. Again, no shit. He also reported that the effects of DMT were very similar across all human volunteers, and most of them did report having transcendental or mystical experiences during their sessions. Strassman also found that DMT could be safely administered to all of the volunteers, and it did not cause, surprisingly, any lasting negative impact on their mental health. Unfortunately, though, his experiments only brought about more questions, specifically to him, than it did any real concrete answers. Now, DMT is structurally similar to serotonin, which is a natural molecule throughout the entire human body. Most of it's in your gut, which regulates sleep, mood, and appetite, and memory, if I didn't say that already. When it is smoked or taken orally alongside that MAOI, these cells in the brain which normally would receive serotonin instead think they're getting serotonin, but it's actually DMT, so they're kind of tricked. They're like, oh, this is serotonin entering me, and then they lock in and it's like, oh shit, it's DMT, we're about to blast off. Which proposes the question, why does DMT have the effects it even has? Now here's the thing, we can measure the effects, but nobody really knows the precise mechanism that causes the effects. It's all still being studied, and the research was blacked out for so long due to all these regulations, and it's only recently that things have begun to loosen up a little bit, that people are starting to be able to, create real scientific inquiry into these experiences. So we really just don't understand the psychedelic experience as much as, you would think we would. DMT was initially popularized by the famous psychedelic enthusiast Terence McKenna. However, it wasn't until recent times when the mighty Joe Rogan appeared on the scene where the vast majority of the public finally became aware of this compound.
This is the story of DMT, a simple compound found throughout nature which has profound effects on human consciousness.
You could even say that if it wasn't for Joe Rogan, most people would have no idea what DMT is. He's really the one that brought it on the scene.
DMT is dimethyltryptamine.
So I would like to thank Mr. Rogan for introducing the world to this fascinating, intense, and mind-boggling psychedelic that has helped and confused thousands, maybe even millions of people. He is the true psychedelic pioneer of our day and age, shockingly. Anyway, that concludes this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you head on over to the comments section. Let me know what you thought of it. Leave a comment for the algorithm. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Head on over to psychsubstance.shop to pick up one of our limited edition onesies so you can have all of your psychedelic trips in comfort and style. If you want, you can also head on over to our Patreon where we show uncut stuff, the stuff we can't show on YouTube. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Cheers, everybody.